So this wasn't the night before Christmas, but it was September the 26th, 2005, when Cramer announced on his television show to his television audience the sad news that Provenge, an experimental treatment for prostate cancer, well, it had flopped, or at least that's what Cramer the Clown had said. So thousands of end-stage patients that had been pinning their hopes on Provenge, they were pretty upset. But according to Cramer, the treatment had just been rejected by the Food and Drug Administration. It would never go to market. So yes, this is a story about a network of market miscreants that includes the disreputable financial analysts, prominent journalists, and even some of America's best-known hedge fund managers, you know who they are, that are also associated with the Russian mob. You may not have known that. This is not a freaking clickbait thumbnail. My channel is all about exposing the fraud in our market, and most of the time the focus is on Citadel Securities, Ken Griffin, and of course AMC and GME stock. This is no different, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, this is the biggest story that I will probably ever cover on my channel, and if you're going to watch any of my content, this would be the content to watch. Because I'm about to expose the biggest freaking fraud in the market. And yes, it involves Ken Griffin, Jim Cramer, Jim Canos, the SEC, the Russian mob, and a few attractive hookers. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be mentioning them. It does also involve some upset wives. And of course, as we know, the history that goes on in the stock market tends to repeat itself. So we're going to be talking about what I believe is repeating itself right now. And that is, the PFOFs, the FTDs, or failure to delivers, naked short selling, and much, much more. So I can pretty much guarantee that you haven't heard about this or seen it anywhere else. I can pretty much guarantee that you're not going to hear about this or see anything about this on YouTube, on any other channel, at least not till I'm done covering it, because that's, what's going to expose it. So, and speaking of, exposing it, this will take several videos, which I will be dropping daily. But I'm going to keep these videos around 10 to 15 minutes long, because I'm still planning on covering, like current events that are going on right now, like anything that pops up with AMC or GME. And that said, this is what you're watching right now is your part one. And this will probably turn into at least a 10-part series. So I'm going to be dropping videos on this every single day. And if you're wondering why, well, hell, first of all, I had to read an 80-page report and analyze it. This did come off of the sec.gov website. In addition to that, I had to do a lot of independent research into Ken Griffin. And I love doing that, so it didn't bother me not one bit. But, I had to kind of, put all the dots together and draw that line with my crayon, and I did all this while I was eating a banana. So if you want to go out there and think that you can find all this on your own and all that, be my guest. But if you want me to tell you all about it and make it easy and understandable for anybody, make sure you sub, because you're not going to get this anywhere else, like I already told you. And for the love of God, please go ahead and smash that like button so the YouTube algorithm shares this with every single ape out there. Anybody that's being affected, and by that I mean anybody that owns stocks that are being sold short, not just sold short, but naked short sold, if that is the proper terminology. If not, sue me. But anyhow, if you want all the work done for you and for me to give you all of this DD that I'm having to do, well, yeah, hit that sub button, hit the freaking notification bell so you're pretty much notified as soon as this drops, because it's dropping every single freaking day. And yeah, hit that like button so everybody knows about it, because we're all fighting together here. We are the Ape Nation. We are an ape family. But without any further ado, let's talk about some crap that's more important than what I just said, obviously. If you're done subscribing and tapping that like button or smashing it or whatever you want to do, whatever you kids call it these days, this story starts with a stock. A stock just like AMC and GME, but this story takes place, or at least it started in 2005, and we're going to kind of follow the progress of everything that freaking went on, because it's just like AMC, just like GME. There's all of this fraud. All of the elements involved here are exactly the same as what we're seeing right now with AMC, GME, or any other meme stock. Okay, all of it is the same. And, we've known that there's been corruption for quite some time, but now, we're really connecting the dots. And now you're seeing how serious this is, or you will once you watch the full video. And this is extremely concerning, but, at the same time, it's educational, motivational. It should motivate you to do better, to buy more shares if that's what you want to do, or hold longer, or whatever it is that your crazy ape brain tells you to do. But this story does start with Jim Cramer, out of all people, Jim Cramer, the crooked son of a gun that, you're fixing to see just how crooked he is. I mean, we all knew he was crooked. We saw the video of him talking about how he manipulates stocks for his hedge fund and putting out stories that will, pretty much destroy the company's reputation and lower the share price of the stock, because he's going short on it. He puts out his own narrative, and we knew all that crap was going on, but now we have, evidence and, some examples of what the hell went on. And this went on over several years, so you're really about to see. And I'm going to be talking about a specific company, a specific stock called Dendreon. So the phase 3 trials had pretty much demonstrated that Provenge significantly increased patient survival with only minimal side effects. And by that, I'm talking about, mild fever and things of that nature. Moreover, Provenge was an altogether different sort of treatment, one that fought tumors by boosting patients' immune systems rather than subjecting them to chemotherapy, because we all know that that's extremely unpleasant. Dendreon was doing more than just developing a new technology. It was actually pioneering a treatment that could revolutionize the way that doctors fight prostate cancer. By some conservative estimates, the market for Provenge was estimated to be about $2 billion per year. And that's if the treatment didn't extend out to other cancers. And in that case, if it did, it could be worth a whole lot more. But back to Cramer for a moment. So the morning after Cramer declared that Dendreon and Provenge were dead in the water, Mark Haynes, which was the anchor of CNBC's Squawk Box, apologized for Cramer the Clown's mistake. And then later on that afternoon, at an important UBS investor conference, Dendreon presented some very, very promising data. Data that normally would cause one of these type of stocks to rally, and those were the expectations. But for some reason, the stock started trading flat, or continued to trade flat, and then came the gradual decline. And if I didn't know any better, which I do, I would say that Cramer was at least partially responsible for all of this. Now, the next evening, he gets on Mad Money and acknowledges that the FDA had not yet rejected Provenge. So basically, he's admitting or acknowledging that he was wrong. But drawing upon his medical expertise, Cramer maintained that Provenge was not effective. He announced that Dendreon shareholders were drunken, carousing, gambling false staffs who might as well take their money to Vegas. Now, if that doesn't sound familiar to you, then you just haven't been keeping up with AMC and what Cramer's been saying about AMC, because this Cramer the Clown, and that's a nice way of referring to him, has been talking about gambling in Vegas anytime that we talk about AMC and GME and these meme stocks. Okay, dumbass Cramer the Clown. So ignore that, I'm sorry. Anyhow, Dendreon, okay, he added rather ominously, okay, later. He said, was a battleground stock. What do you mean, Cramer? So what Cramer meant by battleground has since become all too apparent, because for the next few years, Dendreon would become one of the most manipulated stocks on NASDAQ. During some periods, the trading volume of this little company exceeded that of America's largest corporations, which is a strong sign to me that hedgies were churning the stock to move the market. And with every burst of good news, and by the way, there was a lot of that, the company faced waves upon waves of naked short selling, and hedge funds basically selling millions of shares that do not exist to flood the market and drive down the share price. Along with these phantom stock, Dendreon also fell victim to false financial research, biased media, bogus class action lawsuits, shills, dubious science, and other familiar weapons of the battleground, as Cramer would call it. And listen, if this is starting to sound familiar, well, then maybe we're on the right track, so let's keep going. So the denouement of this stock market battle occurred on April 28th, 2009, when Dendreon was to present all-important results at the American Urological Association's annual meeting in Chicago. And just a few days prior to this, Dendreon's CEO, which at the time was Mitch Gold, had announced that the results of an independent monitoring committee study were unambiguous in nature and pretty much a clear hit for Provenge. So allow me to translate and state the obvious here. If a CEO uses language like that and does not produce the data to back it up, you can bet your bottom dollar that the SEC will pay him, even her, a visit if that was the case, unless the CEO or his allies have juice with the SEC, kind of like, Kenny does. But, they'll usually charge the CEO with making false statements to pump his stock. So with that being said, Gold was not very likely to take that risk, meaning it was clear to most people that were betting on the company and the stock that the meeting in Chicago was going to be pretty much triumphant for Dendreon. And triumphant it was, because the data presented that day showed that Provenge lowers the risk of prostate cancer death by 22.5%, with little or no toxicity, with a few notable exceptions, and some of whom will appear as prominent characters in this story. I think you know who those will be, but we're going to get there, so, I'm going to keep going. But nearly every medical professional on the planet now concurred that Provenge was a blockbuster drug, one that should receive FDA approval and make Dendreon a highly profitable company. Oh, but the hedgies weren't finished. Not yet. In the days following Gold's announcement, short sellers piled on, and they piled on with a vengeance, returning Dendreon to the leagues of the world's most heavily traded stocks. The firm once again found itself on the SEC's Reg SHO list, and that's a list of companies whose stock was failing to deliver. So we're talking about FTDs, not STDs, and we're talking about FTDs in excessive quantities. And if you haven't learned anything from AMC and GME from holding those, well, it's basically a clear indicator that illegal naked short selling is taking place. And meanwhile on CNBC, Cramer had hammered Dendreon on April 6, 2009, amidst ear-rattling sound effects like dogs fighting and inexplicably a baby crying. Wah, wah. Cramer had said, "I don't like Dendreon," but he didn't say it in that manner. He shouted that Provenge had no chance of getting FDA approval, and Dendreon shareholders could, or should, sell, as the famous clown normally does. And then on April 28th at 10:01 a.m. Central Time, just hours before Dendreon's triumph in Chicago, an anonymous message board author on Yahoo Finance posted a message saying, "High probability of massive bear raid, DN, which was the ticker symbol for Dendreon, could easily drop 50% on a massive bear raid. It's coming today at 12:30 p.m. Central Time." And then just minutes before the 12:30 p.m. Central Time that this anonymous author spoke of in his message on Yahoo Finance or whatever, Dendreon's stock price, well, it began to fall. And it didn't just fall. It took a nosedive, okay, from $24 to under $8 in just 75 seconds. So during a period of 75 seconds, more than 4,000 trades were placed, which totaled 3 million shares, or about 50% of Dendreon's spectacularly high average daily volume. Given that the message board poster knew what was coming more than 2 hours beforehand and predicted the timing almost precisely, I would say, it's a safe bet that this was a coordinated, illegal, naked short selling attack. And just in case you still don't get it, This attack caused Dendreon's share price to lose more than 65% of its value, and in just 75 seconds, flat. While I have you here, I wanted to quickly tell you about the brand new First Trade app, available for mobile or PC. The platform will give you access to powerful and easy to use tools and allows you to trade with less restrictions, zero commissions, zero fees, and you can use the first link in the description below to download a free stock today without having to deposit any money. This will greatly help out the channel and is always appreciated. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Congrats, ladies and gentlemen, you've made it to the end of the video. If you like what you watched, make sure you subscribe because I put out videos just like this one every single day. And please do me a favor and smash that like button if I helped you in any way, because it really goes a long way in helping the channel out and keeps me motivated to make videos every single day. Now, there's a lot of work involved, a lot of research, and a lot of time and effort into editing and putting these out daily for you guys. You can subscribe from your screen right now, or if you want to watch one of my other videos, I'm sure YouTube has some good content picked out for you on the left-hand side of your screen now. Thanks for sticking it out with me till the end, and I will see you guys in the next video.